When we think of ancient Egypt, we picture these grand, stable, golden ages. But in between them, well, that's where things get really interesting. We're talking chaos, division, even foreign rule. It's kind of like a lost kingdom, a really mysterious and transformative era called the Second Intermediate Period. And today, we're going to break down exactly how it all went down.
It's a huge question, right? One that pops up all through history. And let me tell you, the story of what happened to Egypt back then, it's a pretty dramatic and kind of cautionary answer.
Okay, so if you look at the wrong arc of ancient Egyptian history, you start to see this incredible rhythm. You get these powerful, unified kingdoms, and then bam, a period of collapse. Historians call these the intermediate periods, and they were, times of total chaos. We're gonna zero in on this one right here, the Second Intermediate Period. It's this messy, super fascinating gap between the super prosperous Middle Kingdom and the all-powerful New Kingdom.
So, how does a golden age just end? Well, for Egypt, it all kicked off with the sudden collapse of what we now call the Middle Kingdom's Golden Age.
It all boils down to a classic political problem, a succession crisis. You've got this incredibly stable 12th dynasty, right? But it ends with Queen Seqenenre. And here's the kicker. She has no heirs. She dies, and just like that, a century of peace and prosperity slams to a halt, leaving behind this huge, dangerous power vacuum.
And the dynasty that tried to pick up the pieces, the 13th? Well, they were just not up to the task. They were way too weak to hold Egypt together. I mean, you had this revolving door of pharaohs who barely lasted any time at all. So central power just crumbled. And at the exact same time, you've got all these external pressures building up. Canaanite people are settling in the Nile Delta. Famine is starting to hit parts of the country. It got so bad the pharaohs had to pack up and flee their own capital, retreating south to Thebes. The kingdom was literally breaking apart at the seams. And all that weakness, it led to complete and total fragmentation. I mean, for the first time in centuries, Egypt wasn't one unified nation anymore. It was a land of many, many kings.
The situation was just absolute chaos. You had the old 13th dynasty barely clinging to power down in the south from Thebes. Meanwhile, a rival 14th dynasty just breaks away up in the delta. You even had local warlords carving out their own little kingdoms. And right into the middle of this massive power vacuum steps a new foreign power in the north, the 15th dynasty, who we know better as the Hyksos. Ah yes, the Hyksos. These guys are probably the most famous and definitely the most controversial players in this whole story. For centuries, the big question has been, who were these people and how in the world did they end up ruling Egypt? Were they these violent invaders, or was it something else entirely? So the name Hyksos itself is a clue. It actually comes from this Egyptian phrase, which means rulers of foreign lands. So we know they were outsiders, probably from West Asia. But, a name doesn't tell you how they seized power. For a long, long time, the story we all heard came from ancient historians like Manetho. And his version, it's pure, brutal conquest. He painted this picture of a foreign horde just sweeping into Egypt, burning cities to the ground and enslaving everybody. It's a very dramatic picture. But here's where it gets really interesting. Modern archaeology is starting to tell a very different story. The physical evidence that we're digging up today, it doesn't really point to a sudden violent invasion. It suggests something a lot more complex. And the key to this whole new theory, it comes down to a single, pretty stunning number discovered by analyzing the bones buried in the Hyksos capital city. That number is 77%. So what on earth does 77% mean? Well, scientists did what's called a strontium isotope analysis on the skeletons from the Hyksos capital, and they found that a whopping 77% of the women buried there were non-local. Now think about it, an invading army? That would be almost all men. This is evidence of something totally different. It suggests a long, gradual migration of entire families, men, women, and children who just settled in the delta over time, and then, as the Egyptian state got weaker and weaker, they were in the right place at the right time to take over. So while all this is happening, while the Hyksos are setting up shop and consolidating their rule in the north, down in the south, a spark of resistance is starting to catch fire. From the great city of Thebes, a war of liberation was about to begin. the Thebans were not having it. They absolutely refused to accept foreign rule. At first, you have the 16th dynasty trying to fight back, but they're hit with famine and just overwhelmed, and they're eventually crushed by the Hyksos. But Thebes wasn't done. Oh no. A new line of rulers, the 17th dynasty, rose up from those ashes, more determined than ever to lead the rebellion. And look, this wasn't some quick, easy victory. This was a generational struggle, a family affair, really. It all started with a pharaoh named Seqenenre Tao. After he fell, his son, Kamose, picked up the banner and pushed the fight further north. But in the end, it was Kamose's brother, Ahmose I, who was destined to finish the war. And that final, hard-won victory, it did way more than just end a period of chaos. It forged something completely new, something that would change Egypt forever. Ahmose I finally did it. He achieved what his father and his brother had died fighting for. He drove the Hyksos out of Egypt for good, and for the first time in more than 100 years, he reunited the two lands, Lower Egypt in the north and Upper Egypt in the south. The kingdom was whole again. And this, right here, is the most crucial takeaway of the whole story. The trauma of being divided, of being occupied by a foreign power, it fundamentally changed Egypt's psyche. The memory of that humiliation created this brand new national mindset. Egypt was no longer content to just sit back and defend its borders. No, it became aggressive, militaristic, imperial. From the ashes of all that chaos rose the new kingdom, an empire built for one purpose: to make sure Egypt would never be invaded again.
So it leaves us with this final big thought to chew on. We remember the new kingdom for its incredible glory, for pharaohs like Tutankhamun and Ramesses the Great. But you have to wonder, could that age of unbelievable power and wealth have even been possible without the chaos that came right before it, without the crisis that forged that new, stronger Egypt? It's a fascinating question, and one to think about.
Thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, then please hit the like button.